We got balance changes. Supercell didn't give me a whole lot of notice, which is perfectly fine. So I'm rushing this out as fast as I could. By the time you're watching this, the balance changes might be live already, or they may be added in the next day or two. But we got 41 emergency balance changes, which is gonna fix things up a little bit because there's been a lot of drama in the competitive community right now. We're gonna start off with Hank, okay? He is one of the most obvious nerfs. I feel like he shouldn't be obvious because he's just been so bad for so long, but this meta, oh, he has been good. He is getting a nerf to his hypercharge. Each one of the missiles from his super is now going to home in 50% less than before onto the nearest enemy. In other words, the missiles can't curve nearly as sharply as before, and they will be significantly harder to land. This is gonna make his hypercharge way less broken in most situations. I still wonder if it's gonna be really broken in open maps though, because yeah, I don't know, it's kind of tough to say because Hank typically does best with walls and open maps don't have walls. So it's gonna be interesting for him to charge his hypercharge in the first place. Next up we have Stu, and he is getting a nerf to his speed zone gadget. The gadget is now going to decay 100 health per second, which means the gadget's only gonna be able to be up for 10 seconds at most. It's pretty easy to Stu to place this gadget in a spot where nobody can touch it, and it has been really, really good, especially since the gadget rework. He's basically had another gadget ready to go as soon as the previous one ran out of health. So this is going to provide a lot more time between speed zones for him. Next, we have Mr. P, who's getting two very much needed nerfs to his hypercharge. Each porter's health is now going to decay 400 health per second. So each one can only survive for 10 seconds at most. This is a massive nerf to his hypercharge. Their movement speed is also going to get slightly nerfed as well. I still think that this is going to be one of the best hypercharges in the game, but these nerfs should slow down the pressure at least a little bit. Mr. P's not gonna be able to put his porter spawner like way far back and basically make it untouchable like he could beforehand. Unless he just doesn't want to get value out of his porters because they're only going to stay alive for 10 seconds. And if they're running to the enemy for 10 seconds, anyway, you get the idea. Next, we have B, and she is getting a nerf to her Rattled Hive gadget. The gadget's cooldown is going up from 17 seconds to 20 seconds. B can usually get a lot of value out of this gadget, and honestly, even though it has not been my favorite gadget, I've preferred using it since the gadget rework. So that shows how strong this actually has been. And I think that this nerf actually makes a lot of sense for B's gadget. Poco is getting nerfs to the cooldowns of both of his gadgets. Okay, his tuning fork is going from 16 seconds up to a 20-second cooldown, and Protective Tunes is going from an 11-second cooldown to 18 seconds. I don't know about tuning fork, the nerf to tuning fork, but an 11-second cooldown on Protective Tunes simply ruined a lot of brawlers. Poco could straight up counter so many brawlers with stuns, slows, and other abilities and stuff like that. So this is going to make it less of a go-to choice, at least competitively, where people have been using it that way. I don't know that everybody else has been using it like the competitive pro players though. Ollie's getting a nerf to his supercharge rate. Instead of charging his super in 5 basic attacks, it's now going to require 6. Now his Regulate gadget is also getting its cooldown nerfed from 17 seconds up to a 20-second cooldown timer, okay? Now the supercharge nerf was honestly like really needed, and I do think that it's going to be enough to make Ollie somewhat balanced. Next we have Barry, who's getting a nerf to his attack damage. Instead of healing 50% of the damage that it would deal, now it's only going to heal 40% of the damage that it does to, or would, to enemy. He's gonna heal his teammates, but only 40% of the damage he could do against enemies. Sorry for saying that weird. Honestly, I don't know if this is going to be enough to keep Barry from being the best healer in the game. He's so good right now, but it could make him a little bit worse, so we'll have to see. Melody's hypercharge rate is getting nerfed from 35% down to 25%. So Melody's super and even her hypercharge can chain through supers like crazy, right? If she hits enough enemies. And since her hypercharge is one of the strongest in the game, I'm very happy with this nerf. Melody, just get rid of her. Don't get rid of her, but anyway, get rid of her hypercharge. Juju is getting a nerf to her Elementalist gadget, but only to the shield part of it. Instead of preventing 50% of all damage, it's now only going to prevent 30% of damage. Juju just didn't really seem to have any weak points. She really didn't. She can even walk on water and like she's really good. So like most other throwers, her survivability just needed a little bit of nerfing so that she has some sort of a weak point. Janet's hypercharge rate is getting nerfed from 50% down to 40%. So she's not going to charge it nearly as fast. She also has a strong hypercharge that can chain supercharges as really well. So this is really good. She'll be able to not have her supercharged and hypercharged charge up all the time. Oh my gosh. Gray's walking cane gadget is getting a cooldown nerf. It's increasing by 2 seconds from 18 seconds up to a 20-second cooldown. I don't know if this nerf was really needed, but the gadget is good enough to where I can't really complain about the nerf, right? Especially in the hands of good players that can make long pulls from his super. This should be good, or not from his super, from his gadget, but then with his super, you get the idea. Super it on somebody and then pull them from a long distance. You get it. Wait, no, you pull somebody and then you teleport so that they pull further. Wow, sorry guys. I tried to rest this for you guys as fast as I could. Lou's supercharge rate is getting a nerf. He will now require 9 hits from his basic attack to charge his super instead of only 8. It's not too difficult to land 3 full ammo on a frozen brawler, but this should at least make it a little bit tougher to charge his super and then cycle more as well in the first place. Carl's heat ejector gadget is getting a cooldown nerf from a 15-second cooldown to a 17-second cooldown. Honestly, this gadget really popped off since the gadget rework, and I could see it being nerfed even a little bit more in the future because I still think that Flying Hook won't be played quite as much, which is kind of crazy because, man, Flying Hook was so good for so long. Leon is getting a nerf to his Lollipop Drop gadget. Just like Stu's Speed Zone, Lollipop Drop is going to now decay at 150 health per second, which means that it can only survive for 10 seconds at most. For the same reason as Stu's Speed Zone nerf, I feel like this nerf is completely justified. Next, we have Squeak's Wind Up gadget. It is getting a cooldown nerf from 11 seconds up to 14 seconds. Did anybody see his Wind Up gadget being broken? Did anybody? I certainly didn't. This has been a very popular gadget since the rework because just of how short the cooldown was. You just throw an attack every 11 seconds just across the map. Like, man, this is gonna make it harder to choose between his 2 gadgets for sure. Next, we have Meeple, who is getting a cooldown nerf to both of his gadgets. Mansions of Meeple is going from 20 seconds to a 22-second cooldown, and then Rage Quit is going from 16 seconds up to 18 seconds. Both of these gadgets are really good, and while I don't really know if Rage Quit needed a nerf, I do feel like Mansions of Meeple 100% did. That thing was busted. Mortis's hypercharge rate is getting nerfed from 40% down to 30%, so he's not going to be charging it nearly as quickly. Mortis is just one of those brawlers that can chain through supers better than most brawlers, and his hypercharge has been one of the most game-changing hypercharges since it was released for a brawler. And yeah, it's been really great for Mortis. I guess the devs still like how strong it is. They just want to see it happen a little bit less frequently, which I guess is fair to all you Mortis people who just kill me over and over and over again. I blame my teammates for charging your hypercharge in the first place. Rose's Grow Light gadget is getting a cooldown nerf from 10-second cooldown up to a 13-second cooldown. With the cooldown gear, Rosa has just been able to cover most of any map with bushes, which sort of takes away from the uniqueness of each map. So I like this nerf because if left alone, she was just annoying. Next is Jean. Jean's Vengeful Spirits gadget is getting a cooldown nerf from 16 seconds up to 20 seconds. 4 seconds for a cooldown nerf is honestly a lot. And while I do agree that a nerf to this gadget was needed, this one was a little harsh. So keep it in mind. Next, we have Belle's Nest Egg gadget, which is getting a cooldown nerf from 17 seconds down to a 20-second cooldown. This is another gadget that was just very easy to use right when the cooldown is done. And Belle has been able to fill the map with these things. And so, I don't know, I enjoy playing Belle. I thought it was fun putting traps down all the time. I think that another second or two is a little justified, unfortunately. Frank's hypercharge rate is getting nerfed from 40% down to 30%. It's been really easy for Frank to get multiple hypercharges in a match thanks to the tank trait, so I think this nerf is completely fine. Sam's hypercharge rate is getting nerfed from 40% down to 20%, so this is going to make it significantly harder for Sam to charge his first hypercharge, and I personally think his hypercharge has just been a little bit overrated, so this nerf might be a little bit harsh, but I do agree that it needed at least some nerf. Meg's hypercharge rate is getting nerfed from 40% down to 35%. This is a slight nerf, very small. I really haven't played against Meg enough to really have a good, strong opinion on this. So apparently people thought it was too strong. Chester's hypercharge rate is getting nerfed from 40% down to 30%. Chester may have made his way back up to the S tier with his new hypercharge, and he has been able to cycle them like crazy. This was a much needed nerf. I wouldn't be surprised to see 1 or 2 more nerfs for his hypercharge in the future. Okay, now along with all these nerfs to hypercharge rates, a universal nerf is being made to all hypercharges. Brawlers are not going to be able to charge any of their hypercharges while they are currently hypercharged. There were just a few brawlers that could benefit from this more than other brawlers, and I think that this should make hypercharges in general just a little bit easier to balance. I know this isn't like a big deal for some brawlers, but anyway. Edgar is getting a buff to both of his gadget cooldowns. His Let's Fly gadget is going from 23 seconds down to 21 seconds, and his hardcore gadget is going from 19 seconds down to 17 seconds. So both of them are getting a 2-second buff, and he just had really long cooldowns. I could see Edgar actually being a decent brawler with a 17-second cooldown on his hardcore. So we'll have to see though, because you know, he's not the best competitively. Charlie is getting a buff to her supercharge rate. Instead of requiring 7 hits from her basic attack to charge her super, she's going back down to only 6 hits. I say back down because this is how it used to be when she was kind of broken. So I'm a little worried about this, but she's kind of unplayable right now. So I don't know that she's going to be back to being broken, but she'll be seeing, we'll be seeing more of her with this buff. Bo's hypercharge rate is getting buffed from 35% to 45%. Okay, Bo's hypercharge is probably one of the weaker hypercharges in the game, and it kind of takes him forever to charge it. So I'm totally fine with this, although we might just see him clear over the top of the S tier. You never know with hypercharges. Ems' hypercharge rate is also getting a 33% buff. Okay, it's going from 30% to 40%. Ems just hasn't been used competitively very much. So while I don't think that she needed this buff, especially because I hate playing against Ems, can't be that bad of an idea, at least competitively. I'm gonna hate it, but it's fine. Mo's reload speed is getting buffed by 25%. This is kind of an insane buff, but I could also I feel like it's just fine because he's so bad at the moment. I know that he used to be completely broken, but I think this buff is gonna make him a lot more balanced. Max's Sneaky Sneakers gadget is getting a cooldown buff from a 12-second cooldown to a 10-second cooldown. I really don't think that anybody asked for this buff, and I'm almost positive that Phase Shifter is still going to be better. I could just be underestimating it. I don't know. This gadget honestly might just need some sort of a rework for it to be viable. Shade's Jump Scare gadget is getting a cooldown buff from 11 seconds to a 9-second cooldown. This is a very short cooldown, and I actually do think that this gadget will be used a lot more in certain maps. Not sure how effective it's going to be though, so we'll have to wait and see. Finks is getting a buff to his movement speed and to his reload speed. His movement speed is moving up from the normal movement speed like Nita has, up to the fast reload speed, which is kind of like what Bull has, okay? And then his reload speed is getting increased by a little less than 20%. We've seen how broken movement speed buffs have made other brawlers in the past, like Shelly went from F tier to S tier with just a movement speed buff. She's been toned down since then, but you get the idea. Finks is another brawler that's kind of just really bad competitively right now, so honestly, I could see him breaking the game. I could. I think he's gonna be really good. Tara's getting a buff to her supercharge rate. Instead of requiring 11 cards to charge up her super, she's now only going to require 10 cards. Tara is just not the best brawler right now. I think that she's actually pretty good on some maps, and I don't know that this buff was really necessary, but we're gonna be seeing a lot more of Tara after this, I think. Lola's hypercharge hasn't been out for very long, and at first glance, it doesn't seem to be that strong since her ego just becomes an easier target to hit. With that in mind, Lola's hypercharge rate is getting a buff from 25% to a 35% charge rate, okay? Lola's hypercharge hasn't been out for very long, and at first glance, it doesn't seem to be that strong to me. Honestly, like it kind of comes with the big weakness that Lola's ego becomes a bigger and easier target to hit. With that in mind though, I think this is going to help Lola get multiple hyper charges in a game, which could end up making her an S tier brawler. Okay, lots of balance changes, lots to digest. So many charging rates are different. So many gadget cooldowns are different now. So we're going to have to wait and see how this shakes things up. I'm really thankful to the developers for adding these balance changes mid-season though, because because with the gadget rework, the meta's just kind of crazy. I would love to know what you guys' thoughts are. Thank you so much for subscribing and checking this out. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. You guys don't want to miss balance changes. I'm going to give them to you as soon as I can, obviously. So subscribe, watch the next video. Thanks so much for checking it out, guys. We'll see you in the next video.